Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brandy, and I'm the owner and creator of Boundless Treasures Boutique. Today, I'm going to be showing you this sublimated tumbler. So, before we jump in, be sure to enjoy and don't forget to like and subscribe. First thing we're going to do is we are going to go into our Cricut design space. The reason that we're doing this is we are going to upload our images. And the way I did this is I go to upload, I click browse, and then I scroll down to the name of the image that I will be using. Both of these are an anime character from Dragon Ball Z, which was what was requested by my customer. Once we find it, we're going to select complex, and I double check to remove any background. This way we're not printing anything wonky. And you're going to see here that I notice that there are some white portions of this image that actually disappear. So I'm trying to figure out like the easiest way to remove the background and get those images put on, because I want those to be visible on the cup. So what I did was I went through and I clicked restore down at the bottom under manual, and you'll see that I am just clicking on all those spaces where the image ended up removing itself as part of the background. I found this to be the easiest way to get the color back in to the image, so that way when we sublimated back onto our tumbler, the image was exactly as we need it. So I'm going to, again, zoom in. I'm just checking. You'll see me here going back and forth. That way I can get everything back the way that I want it to be. Now, once I do that, I am going to click apply and continue, and then we are going to put it on to our canvas. That way we can get started. I'm going to let the rest of this play through, and then I will be back with our next step. Okay, so now that we've got that all set and it's uploaded, I'm going to go in and we're going to select the other image. So on this tumbler, this is going to be like a front and back image on both sides. We're going to upload our second image, select complex, remove our background, and again, if we need to, we are going to restore any portions of our image that was removed. Why this happens, I'm not too sure. It's probably the way that the image is composed or like put together in the file, but quick and easy fix to restore any of those portions. So I'm just going to get all of those, and then we are going to move and upload it on to our canvas as well. So now that we have our images all restored and the way that we want them, I am going to go ahead and move them on to my canvas. So what you see me doing here is I clicked on my view all because one of my images had been moved out of the ones that are being shown. So I just went in and I clicked add to canvas for both of those, and they uploaded nice and neat on to my canvas and then put us in a position where we are ready to go ahead and start our sizing. So what I would recommend for sizing is obviously you're going to want to make sure that you measure your cup width and length of your tumbler, and then pick the sizes that work best for you. So what I'm doing is I am actually unlocking my design. So I want my height to be 7, and then my width, I did modify a little bit for each one of those. But I think they were about 3 inches in width, give or take, maybe a little bit smaller. Yep, 2.3 is what I ended up settling with. So definitely smaller than 3. And then I relocked my images and went over, clicked make it. And this gets us to our print portion. Now with sublimation, super important that you mirror your images. This way they turn out the right direction when you are finished with your cup. Once you're done with that, you're going to click send to printer, and then you're going to get a little dialog box that comes up. Remove the add bleed, and I always use the system dialog. I use this because it allows me to change paper sizes, things of that nature if I needed to. I didn't have to on this particular project, but it makes it a little bit easier for me. I make sure that I have my Epson EcoTank, which is my sublimation printer, selected, and then I get it all printed. I also canceled the cut because I cut those myself. So here we are. We are ready to start the sublimation process. I have my 30-ounce tumbler and my images, and I am just going to cut those out. Now, you're definitely going to want to make sure those black boxes are removed. Don't ask me how I know, but you definitely want those out. So I just trim as closely to the image as I possibly can. This isn't meant to be a wrap, so it's a pretty simple and quick project, but turns out really, really awesome for a tumbler. Once I have these both cut out and ready to go, I am going to get to a point where I'm going to start placing the images onto my tumbler. Now, when I did this, I did put the lid on. That way I could have the true front and back. And I made sure that they were relatively even. I didn't measure as far as like where I was placing the overall image. I just kind of eyeballed it. But if you want it to be more precise, oh my goodness, I cannot talk. Then I definitely recommend, if that's something that you like to do, definitely go ahead and measure your top and bottom. These images were about the same size, so it was pretty easy just to kind of eyeball and make sure that they looked okay. But once you have your image right where you want it, you're going to use your heat resistant tape. I am using a brand that I actually got on Amazon. It works absolutely great. I haven't had any problems with it. I can link it below for you guys. That way you can check it out if you want. But I just tape over all of the edges. Now, the reason that I'm taping over all of the edges is because I don't want any ghosting. So for those of you that are new to sublimation, ghosting is where your image fades away. And this is just due to the image wasn't down tight enough. And the heat resistance tape actually helps ensure that that doesn't happen. You can also use shrink wrap. I didn't use shrink wrap on this particular project because it was just the 2 images, so it made it really easy for me to just tape it down and put it into my tumbler press. And everything turned out really, really nice. But again, you can always use shrink wrap just to be on the safe side. I'll tell you, on any of the wraps that I do, that is my absolute go-to, and I have not had any ghosting at all since I started using that. And then we're just going to repeat this process on the back with the other image. And then I'll be back when we get to our next step. Okay, so now that we have our cup all ready to go, we are going to get our press fired up. The first thing I'm going to do before I even turn it on is I'm going to make sure that my press is ready for my cup. So I'm going to put my cup in, and you'll see that it doesn't come down easily. Like there would have to be a lot of force in it. So I am adjusting the pressure. And the reason that you're going to want to do this is because in order to get a clean sublimation transfer, obviously you want your press to be clamped all the way down. So I have found through trial and error, it's easier to do before you heat up your press. Once your press is ready to go, then you can go in and you can press that image down. I typically use the heat setting of 350 for 60 seconds. The sublimation tumblers I use are from Fast Sub. They're absolutely incredible. The transfers always turn out beautiful, and that's the recommended temperature and time for those. I'll also make sure that I put my affiliate link for you guys. That way you guys can save some money if you choose to purchase your sublimation tumblers from there. But if you don't and you're sublimating from other tumbler manufacturers, please make sure that you check the temperature and the time. They do vary. Online also has some pretty good temperature and time estimates, but I would always recommend making sure that that's the right one for your particular tumbler. Now, once you've allowed this to press for the allotted time period, then you are going to simply open your press and you are going to use your heat gloved hand and you're going to rotate your tumbler. And you're going to just press it again for that full time period that your tumbler requests. Now, once both sides are done, you're going to want to make sure that you're using your heat resistant glove, and then you can go ahead and you can remove your tumbler from your press. Now, I am the most impatient human being in the world, so I just went right in and was like, okay, let me peel this off. Please, please be careful when you're doing this. It is really, really hot. Um, so I would definitely recommend, probably for safety, give it like 10-15 minutes to cool down. But I was just super, super excited to see how this does. And again, I'm the most impatient human being known to mankind. So I just went right in. And you can see like I'm being really, really careful and trying to figure out where's going to be the easiest spot that is not super hot for me to um, pick up this tape. And then I start using my gloved hand. And it was just, it was a process. So to avoid all that, just go ahead and let it cool down. I promise it's going to be equally as beautiful once it has cooled as it is when it gets right out of the press. But once you've got all of that removed, friends, your tumbler is finished. It is such a fun, such an easy process. If you've been thinking about sublimating, definitely give it a try. I know it was something that I thought about for a really, really long time, but I just loved how this cup turned out. My customer loves the cup. And this is the final product. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful. If there are any questions you have, I would love to answer them. I would also love to have any of you guys in my Tumblr group and follow me on social. But with that, I'll see you guys next week. Bye now.